God bless you today. This is Pastor Everett Bell of Bethel Monrovia, and I pray that the Lord is keeping you today and that you are filled with joy. You know, there are times in our lives that we are unsure or can be unsure as to whether or not the Lord is responding to our prayer. And there are times that we can feel guilty or even shame because of something we've done, and we don't even know if we've been forgiven. That's what I want to talk to you about today. In the Old Testament, God instituted a process of worship. When the children of Israel were coming out of Egypt, in the desert, he began to share his laws with them. And at that point, he had Moses to appoint Aaron as the high priest. And the high priest was responsible for basically all the religious affairs that had to do with the nation of Israel. They led the process. And in this case, Aaron, being the first high priest, led this process. And so the people would do their sacrifices and for sins that they had done, or to make atonement for what they had done. But once a year, Aaron would do an atonement for the entire nation of Israel. And it required for him to go into the place, into God's presence, which is called the Holy of Holies, and sacrifice on behalf of the nation of Israel for the sins that they had committed unknowingly. And that was interesting because in this process, he would sacrifice. First, he had to do so for himself because he was human, made of flesh. Therefore, he had sin. And then after sacrificing and sprinkling blood for himself, he would sacrifice and sprinkle blood for the entire nation. It was limited, and it's obvious that it's limited because it had to be done every year, right? Now, when you think about your life today, I want to encourage you that whatever you come to the Lord with, he understands. He understands our shortcomings. He understands our tendencies. He understands our missteps. He understands our wayward thinking. He simply understands. In Hebrews, the chapter 4 at verse 15, it reads as follows. I want to read this to you because I want to make this argument to you today because I want someone to be encouraged. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, and yet he did not sin. Let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. Listen, the high priest used to go before the Father in the temple in the Holy of Holies and sacrifice annually for the entire nation. But the Bible says that Jesus, after his resurrection, ascended into heaven and sits on the right hand of God. And it also says in Romans chapter 8, verse 34, that he makes intercession for all of us. In other words, he became our high priest. And unlike the high priest of the Old Testament, he doesn't have to sacrifice something every year to make it work because he sacrificed himself. He sacrificed himself for you. And now that he's done the sacrifice, and now that he sits with the Father, and now that he makes intercession for you and me, you should be confident because he understands. The Bible says he was tempted in every way, yet did not sin. But what that means for us is he understands how temptation works and how we can be pulled out from the direction we're moving in and end up falling along the way. But Jesus understands. And so I want you to know that whatever you're dealing with today, if you've asked the Lord for forgiveness, if you've asked the Lord for direction, don't be troubled. Know that the Lord understands and he has heard your prayer. Be encouraged today. If this helps you, take a moment to hit the like button and the subscription button, and you'll get continual updates of words of encouragement from Pastor Bell. God bless you. Bye-bye.